I've built a community, I've built a home here, and it's not pack up boxes every 3 years. It's a space that I'm invested in, my husband's invested in, and it really makes it just feel special. The stories that we cover every day, we also live every single day. So the stories that we tell are the ones that also impact us. We speak with people at the grocery store, our neighbors, our colleagues, our friends. We're all in this together.
CoastTV, our community, your news, where every story hits close to home.
Local news is really important, especially right now. Local news is still largely trusted by the people in the community that they cover, and a big part of that is because we're out in the community every day. We're meeting people, we're talking to people, we're telling their specific stories, because there's a lot of people that want to know what's going on here. There's a lot of people that have opinions about what's going on here. That matters from a journalistic standpoint.
CoastTV, our community, your news, where every story hits close to home.
I like going to the events that are actually set up through the station that we have a connection to, a lot of the fundraising events. It's a good opportunity for me to see the good work's going on in the community and also interact with the people. When you're out and about, people are so friendly to come up to you and say hi, and that they watch, and very appreciative of that. It's good that you feel like you're making an impact out there.
CoastTV, our community, your news, where every story hits close to home.
A big part of me being who I am is my faith, and I'm really grateful I work somewhere that accepts everybody, right? They really value people who have different backgrounds, different beliefs. They see that as a strong suit. Putting my faith towards what I do for work has been really helpful. My faith has really led me to just love everyone I come in contact with and share their stories more. I think it gives me this empathy that I wouldn't have without my beliefs.
CoastTV, our community, your news, where every story hits close to home.
I love the Four Seasons on Delmarva. This coastal area has so much to offer weather-wise, and sometimes it's a little challenging forecasting for this area. You get that rain-snow line here with storms that come up the coast in the wintertime, but that's similar to where I grew up on Long Island. We had the same rain-snow line along the coast, so in a lot of ways it's something I've grown up with and something I'm used to forecasting.
CoastTV, our community, your news, where every story hits close to home.
I'm very passionate in what I do. I care about what I do. I try to be perfect. I know it's not, you can't be perfect, especially with weather. You have the challenge of the ocean being so close, and that poses a challenge in the winter when we get snowstorms. What direction the wind's blowing, that's going to play a role in who sees snow. Do the best you can to keep the public in the safest position you possibly can.
CoastTV, our community, your news, where every story hits close to home.
Bringing stuff to people at home that will change their lives or change the lives of the community is important. And while it's nice when we talk about the big national stories, the reason we're here is to connect people with what's going on right on Delmarva, and it's a very interesting community. It's not like a lot of other places, so you need that connection.
CoastTV, our community, your news, where every story hits close to home.
What I love most about living on Delmarva has to be the agriculture. Being here, I think I just have a greater appreciation for the land that I live on, seeing, driving through cornfields, seeing farmers. I just have a greater appreciation for it. Even seeing, like farm equipment driving on the highway, I just feel more connected to the food I'm eating and where I'm living.
CoastTV, our community, your news, where every story hits close to home.
Any good reporter tries to stay connected with important officials in the community. I try my best to stay connected with just the man on the street or woman on the street that I interview. I'll get their phone number, become friends with them on Facebook, and just reach out to them, have conversations about what's going on, what they think maybe needs some attention in their community, and I just try to stay friends.
CoastTV, our community, your news, where every story hits close to home.
One of my favorite things about Delmarva is how connected the community is. We love doing events here at CoastTV, so that's one part of it, but it's also just being involved, being a global citizen, going out to dinner, going to the gym, all of those things that make Delmarva what it is economically, we participate in, and it's really fun to see our neighbors be our community.
CoastTV, our community, your news, where every story hits close to home.
Every story that we do, number one, it affects us as well because we live here and this is our community as well. A lot of times in the media in general, there are stories that are put out that maybe are not the most popular. Maybe people don't want us to do certain stories, or maybe people question why are we doing those stories. But I just want our viewers to realize that there is a motivation for every story that we do. Our longtime owner, Mr. Thomas Draper, had a saying that we have a moral obligation to serve the people of Delmarva. And that saying really still rings true to this day in how we make our news coverage decisions. It doesn't necessarily mean the stories that we cover will be the most popular. Some people don't want light to be shed on those stories. But I hope viewers can understand there is a motivation for everything that we do, because at our core is the belief that we have that moral obligation to serve them, to give them news that is important to their communities, that could help them on their day-to-day activities. That is something that we always live with, and we have that through line through all of our work. And I just hope people can understand that is really what motivates us to get through every single story we do.
CoastTV, our community, your news.
I honestly don't know where I'd be without my wife and two sons. It's hard to imagine. You want to present yourself in a good way, present yourself as a good role model. Not that, that's an issue, but it's always in the back of my mind. Hey, is this the way I want them to see? Is this the way I want them to be? I just can't imagine not having that family, people I'm with, part of my life. I just can't imagine it.
CoastTV, our community, your news, where every story hits close to home.
This is a community where my zaniness fits in just fine. Because I go to Rehoboth Beach, they love me because I'm zany. I go to Lewis, they love me because I'm zany, I guess. Or they tolerate me, I go to Milton, I go to Salisbury, and just people are more accepting than you would typically give them credit for. That's an overall wonderful, even playing field, is connecting with people regardless of the background or the culture. It is really surprising how diverse this particular area along the coast is specifically. My experience in covering Katrina and seeing folks that were devastated by a storm reminds me that was once me. When I covered a devastating tornado that ripped through Mississippi and killed people, I've lost family members to storms. That was once me. So what keeps me connected is remembering that no matter what I'm doing, no matter how abstract it may seem, it affects a real person. And that keeps me grounded, that keeps me focused, that keeps me connected to the reality of what I do on a day-to-day basis.